Look at him go. Look at that guy. Look at him. Everything's rolling? All right. Darian?
Dingbats.
Dingbats.
Are we shouting this?
No.
Oh.
I love you, buddy. Thank you for coming on.
No, thank you for having me. Love you too.
Today's going to be a very special episode, but thank you for returning to the Dingbat District podcast. Today we have a very long-term friend of mine, Divine.
Yes.
Thanks for coming on, buddy. Will you intro and plug your socials real quick?
Yeah, so I go by the name Divine. I'm a musician, artist, rapper, originally from Dallas, Texas, and I started my work up in Oklahoma City when I was in school, again, for music. And so I took my studies and, broadened myself and came back here, finding myself. Obviously, life's a journey, as you know,
right.
through your experiences. But yeah, I'm just excited to be here, and thanks for having me.
Of course, man. This was fun because we met. You got here in 5th grade, but I think we didn't meet till 6th grade,
right?
Because you went to Roanoke.
Yeah,
yeah. That's what I thought. But we met in 6th grade, plus playing football and just in class in general. And we were talking about this earlier, and I wanted to bring up one story specifically.
Oh God.
On the podcast, because this was just kind of like my intro to Darian. Which is how I knew him and met him in school. We were just our last names clicked, and we were in the same testing classes. Yep. And one period, I was just. Was it pre-test or during the intermission?
It was during intermission.
Right.
Mid test.
And
I started. You already know. I was rolling it out.
I knew you were friends with the friends that I already had, just from hanging out with everyone from the football team. But I hadn't talked to you much, and at that point, I look up somewhere, I think I was taking a nap, and I look up, and you're just rolling gobstoppers across the floor to the people in the class. Well, not all the people, because most of them in that class was just full of dorks. It was just the dweebs, and then me, you, and 2 other people that were there. And from there, there was a funny thing that happened, that the teacher that we had was just such a bitch that
Respectfully.
There's also no way she's alive, so.
Right. Well, I don't know.
Well, that's true. I have a kindergarten teacher that I thought was easily 80 when I got her. And then I talked to my mom the other day, and she's still alive.
No, yeah, she's still here.
She's got to be
she's
100.
still breathing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She might still be alive, but she's probably not watching podcasts at this point.
Nope.
But yeah, she was just being a bitch, and she called you out. And did she send you to the principal's office?
Yeah, she wrote me up for that.
Right.
Yeah, I'll never forget that, because I got called to the principal's office. The next, I think test was on a Friday, so I got a little bit of a weekend. Came back, boom, I'm in the principal's. She was like, "Now, Miss Abbott, sorry to name drop, but Miss Abbott said that you did this, and she found gobstoppers all along the edge of the classroom at the end of the day after testing."
That's not your fault.
That's not my fault.
You
listen.
I was there. There were dime in the pocket passes.
Yeah. You know me. I was rolling it.
You had Butterfinger receivers.
Yeah, I did. And so she was like, "So, you can't be doing that. That's you're littering everywhere." Basically, was the concept here. And here's how I got.
Chloe.
Here's what
missing.
I told her. Yeah. No. She
Feel the
had
ground
no
ball,
hands.
damn it.
Yeah. No eye-hand coordination. No, but for real though, I was like, look, I was just trying to help my classmates out. I was like. I can't believe I said this. I really did say this. I swear. I was like, studies show that students who have higher levels of sugars and carbohydrates in their system will perform better on the tests, on standardized tests. And so that's what I went with. That was my go-to card. My get out of jail free card was that I was hooking up everybody trying to boost the test scores.
You bullshitter so quickly.
I know.
So young.
Yes. At such a young age, I figured out how to use that manipulative trait that do you get an astrology? I'm a Capricorn. What are you?
A Leo.
You're a Leo.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
So
what do you think of me for asking you what your sign is? Like,
I think
are
you've
you
changed
passing
a little
judgment?
bit. No, but I think you've changed a little bit since we were kids.
Yeah.
Because it was locker room talk when we were growing up a lot.
Right.
And now you're like, what's your sign?
Right.
No, but like, I think it's a little
Leo,
different.
yeah.
Not necessarily like what the planets were doing when I was born, but like, I was born in August. And so that meant like if I had a birthday party, people were always out of school.
Right.
So I could have a birthday party and most people could come.
Right.
So,
whereas me, the 27th of December, everybody was on trips or out of town or had family, so they couldn't come to my birthday.
So
that's crazy.
I have the host's pandemic of like, I like the spotlight, i.e. me having a podcast.
Yeah.
And you were searching for the affirmation of having like the, plus you had 2 days after Christmas was your birthday.
Right.
Which gotta be the worst, one of the worst birthdays.
Here's the thing. Nowadays I use it to my advantage. Right. And, you know, now I say I'm born 2 days after Jesus Christ.
You were close.
That's my excuse.
You were close.
I'm like, hey, but it's 2 days after Jesus, so.
Jesus Christos?
Yeah. Amen. No, but for real, I think the whole planets and everything, at least you believe part of an ideology of that concept.
Like,
you don't believe the whole, but you believe
it's like kind of like a religion,
makes sense.
Like in that there was this idea in that it was Jesus Christo, or around something like that, and then there's like, but he did this, he didn't do that.
Sure, the specifics or the details sometimes get lost to time. But
I'm spiritual. I'm not dead set on anything. Right.
Are we going on a date?
Kinda.
That's crazy how we start off the podcast.
My nipples are hard. I'm ready.
Really?
Yeah. This has been a long time coming. We said 6th grade.
Dude. 6th grade, we were planning this out at the lunch table.
When we weren't playing Hunger Games. You remember that?
Dude, we have way too many stories. Let's
fix the mic. Where at? Like upwards? Okay, I got
you. Yeah, you just gotta get right to the tip, but not too close.
Yeah, I just gotta rest right here.
Leave room for Jesus. That's what they used to tell us.
Leave room for cream. We would play a game called Hunger Games at the lunch table, which was all the skinny kids would they grab like any bit of food they had and throw it out into the middle of the table. And ironically, but not ironically, it was all the fat people fighting for the food, just reaching out in the middle of the table. And it started off as fun, like who was the quickest. By the end of it, by the end of the week, we realized oh yeah, we're bigger than y'all. I ran into Boozy recently, but Boozy was the first dude to throw a punch for the food. He was like, "Nah,
he got physical.
This is mine." Boozy always reminded me of Tony Soprano.
Yes.
Yeah, he's just a block.
Yes. Yeah.
He's just a dude. His brothers, both of them, are playing big time football.
Really?
I think so. The youngest one is on the really good Byron team that just went and had a run. The middle, Femi, went to UConn and then back to ACU. So he's starting at ACU right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, so there's some fucking dogs. It's crazy to think Nevers was kind of the runt.
It's crazy that you speak of that, because I was going to ask you, we both, to a degree, have gone through body transformation. And I've seen and watched you grow, not only in your art, but in your body. So that sounded weird. Pause.
You can watch my body grow all day, buddy.
Cut the camera to me. Pause. No, but tell me a little bit about what was your intention with that? Was it intentional? What was your experience? What'd you go through? Why'd you do it?
So
I'm the host, bitch.
Right. I'll let you host for a little bit. My thing was I picked a college that none of us went to.
Where?
I went to Tarleton State. It was out in the boonies, in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
But I went there because I wanted to pull if you ever saw that movie, The New Guy, it was DJ Qualls and Eddie Griffin was kind of a reoccurring character in it.
I think, but
it's kind of one of those stereotypical 2002 movies.
Okay.
Thinking back,
that's a better description for me.
Exactly. So the idea of it was they called them blips, but they were nerds.
Okay.
And he got he found a way to force himself to get arrested, and then get transferred to a different school so he could come into a new school with a rep. So he'd stop getting picked on. I was like, yeah, I could pick a school where no one knows me.
You could.
And I was never the kid with the word count at the lunch table.
You could, yeah.
I was never the kid with that little fucking, that Argentinian little fucking shithead.
Right.
I didn't have that little monkey chirping my shoulder.
Right.
So I was like, oh, yeah. None of these people fucking know me.
They don't even know you. You could restart, I feel like
you did the same thing at OCU.
Right. Like when I went to Oklahoma.
I mean, you continued with the same rep, but like obviously you were a little different. You didn't change much. This is the Darian that I see and I grew up with.
Right.
But like you grew into
Here's
yourself.
The thing is like people ask me all the time like, where'd you get the name Divine? Like what birthed that? A lot of people ask me that. Surprisingly. You know what I mean? I never would have thought. You asked me 5 years ago. I never would have thought, right?
No.
But people do ask me. They say they're curious as to why you chose that. And I was like, everything happens for a reason. I always say like it's divine timing, right? And so it's not on my time, it's not on your time.
See, even back in the day, if you were divine, I would have
right.
thought
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because you were jovial and outspoken.
I was the class clown.
Yeah, so like this dude, like you would have said like I'm divine, like because you were. Not necessarily cocky because you backed it up.
I'm not egotistical, right?
Yeah, you. Okay, I'm not sucking your dick here, but I will.
Don't.
But
please.
I'm not saying you're him, but you reminded me of Kanye in that like you knew that you were something.
I believe that, just like Uncle Ben said, with great power comes great responsibility.
Exactly. And why can't it be us?
My mom, maybe this sounds like Kanye, but my mom, she always believed in me. She always knew I was going to be something special. So I took that and built a prophecy around it that I believe in to this day. You know what I mean? And even if it's self-built or self-inflicted.
Exactly. And you push that into your music.
And push it on me, yeah.
So I
embody that.
I recently got to go see Divine in one of your part endeavors. So like not his solo music, but a part of the motherfucking band.
I have to plug this band. Let me plug this band.
I have to plug it too, but you get to plug it because it's yours.
The MFN band, the lead singer, my big bro, who I consider family, not by blood, but by choice, which I feel like is even more important.
Right, that's Bond.
That's Wes, W3SST, threes up, salute. I met him out of the blue, out of nowhere, and I'll never forget it. We had a buddy, Don Lewis. Shout out to Don Lewis. He's a big country artist, also from Texas. He's a Texas native.
Yeehaw.
Just signed a record deal, actually. So
Hey-o.
That's also
awesome.
a big bro for me. But Don was coming into OKC. Wes, hooked him up, this and that, yada yada yada. And I was in the crowd, and I'll never forget the interaction. I was like, bro, my name's Divine. Someone told me I was supposed to meet you. Even if that was bullshit, which it wasn't, but I truly felt like I was supposed to meet this person.
And imagine that from his perspective. This guy says he's a divine spirit come to meet me. It's like, did you ever read that book, The Alchemist?
No.
I'll hand that to you. I got it here. It's a good book for someone like you to read because the whole plot is follow your omens.
Yeah.
And that sounded like you walked up and you're like, this is what.
No, yeah.
I was told to meet you. This is my path.
So I'm supposed to do this. I don't know why. I don't ask why. I don't ask when. I just do. You know what I mean? So straight up. And ever since, he's like, oh, so you rap, blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, but, I'm up here for music. I study classical music, but I can play anything. He goes, so what instrument do you play? I said,
before Divine, before Divine was a rapper, and in middle school, I was always so subtly jealous of you because I was told to like go lip sync in choir so we don't have to listen to you practice at home. Like I wanted to play the trumpet and I wanted to play the saxophone. My parents.
I've tried the trumpet. It's hard.
It's hard, but I wanted like Louis Armstrong, like type of shit like that. Like no one listens to the trumpet, but everyone knows Louis Armstrong.
Right.
Like that type of shit. Like a household name. That was the goal.
Yeah.
My parents were like, no. I was like, well, stand up, I guess. Telling fucking poop and dick jokes, I guess, works.
Hey, you do what you do.
Right. But no, in 6th grade, you were devout. Like it was your religion to orchestra.
I didn't know it at the time, though. You got to realize that. I didn't know. None of us knew that at the time. If we knew now what You know what I'm saying?
Right.
If we could take that back with us, and tell ourselves, it'd be a completely different story.
It was your first stepping stone. Like,
yeah.
Did I think you would actually gravitate and stay with the stand-up bass? No. Did I think you would gravitate to something else?
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
I
felt the same way.
I really expected you to, like Jack Black says in School of Rock, tip it on its side, switch it. It's a cello. It's a bass. I thought you were gonna switch to bass and like lyrics.
No, yeah. I mean, and I did to some extent, but no. Someone told me, they were like, "You got to stop. You got to stop playing football." You know us. We grew up playing football,
right?
And truly, I loved basketball. I just wasn't very good at it. So that was my favorite sport. But football, there came a time where I was like, my parents were like, "Yo, you got to figure out a way to get to college, and we're not paying for it."
Yeah,
so
we weren't.
What's up with it? And I was like, shit.
No one at our school really was them, especially in our grade, but we weren't especially.
No, so yeah, you have to find, and I'm glad that I was taught this lesson early. You have to find things that delineate or make you stand out.
Right. You got to find your thing.
You have to find your thing, and you have to do it very well.
Right.
Yeah, because this world is so, how it is. It's so automatic. People,
me
included, as a consumer of your podcast,
Yeah, if you aren't going out
7-second clips, dude. If you watch the average time of people's attention span, it's so fast.
It's terrible.
So, we have to figure out how to capitalize on the limited amount of time that we do have.
Right.
And I think one of the most important things is to stay authentic.
Stay authentic and stay confident in your shit.
Yeah.
Like,
even if you don't see where it's gonna go, that's okay.
Right.
No one who ever started anything worth something knew where it was gonna go, but it went somewhere.
Exactly. And your first impression is
divine.
your set impression. Like, as long as you put out that good first impression and show that, like, hey, it might not be my shit right now, but give me time, and like, this will actually turn into something.
Yeah.
Like, if you go back and listen to what you did on Spotify versus your albums that you have out now, go ahead and plug that real quick, because I love listening to them.
I just dropped a new single, Letters to You.
Letters to You.
And by the time this is out, it'll be out everywhere. It got an early release on Spotify, so you can early listen Spotify, and then by the time this is out everywhere. But yeah, it's completely different. It's more of an alternative pop fusion.
Yeah,
as opposed to where I started, which would be more, I guess, classified as rap or trap or.
Yeah, that was so funny to watch that. Like, as you grew up, you actually like went back to the classical.
And I feel like I'm leaning more and more into it. Just listening to some of the people who I trust, which you can't listen to everyone. People have opinions, especially nowadays with social media.
And there's opinions and people that are just blowing smoke up your ass.
Yeah,
they don't have the time to give you an honest opinion.
Yeah, half the time you just have to filter out what we call bullshit.
Right.
Yeah. And then the other half of the time is figuring out, like, okay, is what this person, does this person have my best intention, or are they thinking about something else?
Right.
You know what I mean? And you know this, and I know this, is that you have to always, I know it seems selfish, but you have to put your intentions first.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this is survival of the fittest.
You have to be selfish if you're going to make it anywhere.
Well, yeah.
You don't have to be a dick, but you got to be selfish.
You have to be protective.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Hey, yeah. Also, Blake, what's the first thing that you made me do when I sat down in this chair? Sign that waiver.
Yeah. Sign a release form.
Oh, yeah. Why? Because he's a smart man. Why? Because we protect the things that we value.
Business
right?
Blake.
Yeah, Business Blake out here really making plays, and we appreciate
Big
that.
Dick Blake.
So,
did you know you stayed Big Dick
Pause.
Producer Blake in my phone?
Oh, no shit.
Yep.
BP. That's classic.
Stupid.
That's so funny, man. Yeah, like, no, I was always really jealous that you found a musical talent, because music was in my family, but it not in my genes, like, whatsoever. I tried to pick up a guitar at one point, and it sounded like I would like just strangling cats. I was like, okay, nah.
See, it's weird because, like, I'll just pick up anything.
That's you're a Renaissance man.
A fucking banjo.
Fucking
hand me a banjo right now. I'll start playing.
Our boy Jumbo's fucking playing the banjo.
Yeah,
and he was picking a little bit when we were in LA. And he's not mad.
He's kind of nice with it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like, I was sitting there like, he just
made
me
want
a banjo.
I was giving him lessons though.
No, he did not.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. By day lessons. By night,
you're
on
Batman.
Stage. I'm back. Wait. No, but what were we talking about? Okay.
Jealous of you playing music, and
don't be jealous because you're out here doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Right, still, but if I could do what I was doing and also rip a lick on the drums,
sure. Hey, that's a lot of people don't know this.
He'd probably get more pussy if he
Yeah.
could play drums.
Yeah, he would. And you know it. And you know it. No, that's the one instrument that I cannot play.
Really?
Drums.
See,
I have great rhythm, so it's not the rhythm.
You know who's good at it, just randomly? Our friend Drew Redmond.
I know that.
We
used to jam back in the day.
So he and I used to
He's
jam
incredible.
on Rock Band.
Yep. It's where
And
all of
like
us.
he got me addicted to it, and I cheated. I just ripped the kick pedal out, and I was just playing the drums. I could play the pads at expert.
Well, yeah, anyone can play the pads, but to do the kick and the pads and the cymbals.
I'm just gonna invent a new way to do it. I'll be a trailblazer.
You're what we call back in the day a
Gay.
a booster rooster. You
Yeah.
remember Call of Duty?
Yeah,
Black Ops
I remember
2.
boosting. Hunter Wilson always made me boost. Like
Dude.
it was just always somehow that he ended up getting the boost.
Like, I'll never forget. We had some of the best, like when I think about memories in middle school especially,
Right.
they were on that video game, on that platform.
We were not GB, like, we weren't in the field, but we were alternates in, like, being relatively good.
We really tried. We really tried.
We could have been semi-professional had we not been 13.
And now, yeah. I mean, I'll just never forget some of those private lobbies and
Those transcripts need to die.
Yeah.
Those transcripts need to go.
Hopefully the government does not have those.
Oh, they do. I don't think they care at this point.
Thank God.
Where are you at on, like, aliens, lizard people, mole people, all the conspiracies? Because I feel like you found some cool ones. Here, I'll put it like this.
I try not to think about conspiracies.
Fair.
I mean, I think about them, sure.
I'm at the point where mathematically aliens have to exist.
See, and I'm still like, how in the hell
Right?
did the Egyptians get the top on the pyramids? You know what I
Aliens.
mean? Like,
Aliens.
I'm still there.
There's your math to it. Aliens were here. They were here. They died. They were more advanced than we were. And, like, I think there's a stereotypical theory that the more advanced you get, the less you have sex because you're just too smart.
Too smart to fuck?
Big dummy testosterones, like, who were forced to build the pyramids, they fuck because that's all they're thinking about.
Right.
Because they're full of testosterone. Low testosterone, real smart people, they're like, I have to build a civilization, and then they never once have sex because they didn't think about it.
Is that why I'm not getting any ass right now?
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
yes, yeah. It's not the glasses whatsoever that make you look like my
It's-
Nana,
it's
but
not the glasses.
the glasses. No. There's a lot of questions to the universe, and I don't have the answers.
see, I'm at a fun point where I would love to see something new pop off, like
Wouldn't we all?
like a mole person comes out of the ground. I'm like, I'm fine. I can take care of myself if they
Right.
come out and come for my shit. But I would love to just be an observer. Like if they come out of the ground, I'm like, get that guy.
Yeah.
Get that guy, and
It's
if you
him.
don't, I'll shoot him so you do. Just leave me alone. I'll help you. Could you imagine just watching like no-eyed pale people just take over the world? You're like, hey, Jim, how's it going? Fucking, you leaving me alone
Dude,
today?
There's still people on this. You know what blows my mind? And maybe this is so like first world of me, but
Right.
there are so many people who don't have internet access still
It's
on
like,
this
isn't it
planet.
like 70% of the world doesn't have internet access?
Whoa.
I think like it's
That's-
something crazy.
That's why your podcasting numbers aren't that great.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
that's not why, Blake.
Oh, damn it.
Damn.
Did you know that Dallas is the highest interest rate? It's the fastest growing cost of living. Sorry, that's what I meant to say.
Oh, yeah.
Yay.
We're
I mean, I
living it
did just
up
pay
here.
$7,000 in property taxes this year.
Oh.
Yeah, I want to die. I get to do a homestead, whatever that's called,
Yeah.
and
See, because some of you out there, they're watching this and they're like, being a musician, that's dope. Wearing a cool jacket, looking cool, talking cool, podcasting,
Right.
You know, being a dope ass guy. making
we're
people
also
laugh.
we're here. We're in not New York, where it's nice to blow up and get
Right.
famous, and spending a lot of money
Lot
to
of
be
money.
here.
Yeah. and which leads me to my next point, which is, you know, it's humbling to go from being independent and being on your own to all of the sudden like coming back and living with family again and rebuilding. Right. That rebuilding state, that'll put you that's humbling.
Yeah.
That's the most humbling process about this whole thing. You know what I mean?
You've got to be ready to accept some shit.
Divine, but you know, when I reflect on myself and my artistry,
I mean, yeah, dude, you were the
you know what I mean? Like a lot of people don't
Snapchat,
know
right?
Where I come from or where I've been, or you know, and a lot of people won't. I don't really lose sleep thinking about that. You know what I'm saying? But
they don't need to.
Wherever you catch up on the timeline, you know, you start to realize that, at least for me, when I watch other people's life story, is that, you know, people go through seasons of change, and sometimes it's hard and sometimes it's rough. And I believe we don't really change much as humans, right? Because you just said earlier, like, I'm the same sixth grader that I was, right?
Right. You don't change on the inside. You change what you're wearing on the outside.
Right.
Like,
right. So you can change.
Shit, I was a fucking cowboy for a little bit. Fucking who the fuck do I think I was?
Yeah.
And then now I think I found just the gutter street punk.
It's something beautiful. I think, you know, every day we learn something new. So that's why we're here. That's why we're doing it. It's an experience, the human experience.
Right.
That's what separates us from all of the other beings.
That, and you just got to think. It's been 23, 24 years.
Yeah.
We're 23 and 24. We've got, mathematically, 50 more years to go.
Sure.
I wonder what's going to change then. Like, probably nothing, but I'm at least going to get a whole lot slower.
Probably.
Like, that's one thing. You're like, I watch my dad now at something like this.
Oh, God,
like,
yeah.
Having to transition into being, like, a feeble old man.
I'm already grunting when I get out of the car.
Dude, right? I mean, we all had vicious injuries when we were younger. I broke my back. You had shit.
I had shoulder injuries.
Didn't you have like a pretty bad concussion like I did?
Oh, yeah. I did have one really bad concussion.
Yeah, we went through some crazy shit. And now, like, that was at 15.
Sure.
At the point where you're supposed to be able to, like, bounce up from the ground and like, ha ha.
Yeah, but I mean, your brain's still pretty, in the field it's called neuroplasticity.
Ooh. It's a big word.
I can't spell it. I hope Angela watches this. I cannot spell it, Angela.
Yo, that's
but
the only reason I can
pronounce it, and that's neuroplasticity. Boom. I'm not going to try and spell it.
Neuroplasticity.
Yeah.
I think I got it.
It's the ability, when you're young, you can, you know, it's like people who are born without a part of their, you know, body. Their brain can reprogram itself.
Right.
That's the basic definition of that. But as you get older, the ability to do so gets less and less.
And you get set in your ways. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, it's
not only in like your taste of music, for example, but your diet or, you know, just your habitual things, right? Like,
I'm already
if you've been smoking for 30 years, you will probably, chances are you'll continue to smoke.
Right. Chances are you'll be the guy saying, I'll cough up a lung before I give up these reds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's all cyclical in nature, but
right.
My spelling has not changed. I can't spell. Well, I mean, I can spell what I need to spell.
Honestly?
Normal words.
Right. What saved me was taking Spanish in college.
Sure.
Because, like, as soon as I took Spanish, I immediately learned how to spell restaurant. Beforehand, I could not. And then you're like, in Spanish, you have to sound out every single thing. And so you got to sit there and actually go, like, restaurante.
Restaurante. Mi amigo. Yeah. Recently, T Breezy.
Hey, yo.
Had a baby shower.
I saw that,
yeah.
He's already a pops or a baby, like
expecting.
Okay.
You're right. Expecting and to be. What do you? I don't know about you, man, but anytime like friends, are welcoming life into the world, it kind of.
I get nervous.
It kind of kicks you in the gut a little bit,
right?
You know, because what's that? My cousin Vinny, you know, that biological clock is ticking.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say.
To where it's like, damn, like who's next? You know, or
we're at a point where we actually got to start like picking.
Yeah,
like,
but bro, we're so fucking old to be talking about that shit. We don't even be talking about procreating at 24. We need to be talking about like, I don't know, the earth.
Right, but like, part of this earth is one of my best friends from college is now having their expecting their second. That's crazy.
Imagine welcoming 2 before the age of what? What is he like?
Imagine
20?
you started raising Toby and Max, which you did.
Nope.
But like
borderline, to a degree. I do have younger siblings. As the oldest, you take on the role of being the example.
Yeah, you weren't parenting, you were leading.
Yeah. And obviously, like I said, if I would have known what I know now, then it'd be a lot different. But
right.
I didn't know that. So I just had to roll with it. But yeah, you realize that, no, I was gaining fundamental knowledge that I'm going to need to take with me on my journey, on my story. So, and still to this day, that's part of the reason I upkeep the standards that I do, not only in the music and the art, but also just like being a person, right?
Right.
Music is just a form of expression to make, at the end of the day, better music hopefully would make better people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Better art makes better people.
Better art makes better people. Better people make better art.
I know it's rebellious in nature and sometimes explicit to a degree, but we always have to recenter our focus to the attention of like, there's a message. And at the end of the day, I'm trying to represent a feeling that hopefully the majority of audience can relate to.
Right.
Right? That's the goal. Just like in podcasting, you're trying to reach the most amount of people.
And not necessarily get people on your side, but get people message.
Yeah, I'm not trying to win you over.
Right. It's
but
like,
I just want to connect with you.
Yeah. If you feel the same thing, like I feel.
If you felt, I know it looks different, but if you felt the way I felt then, and sometimes, that, sometimes songs were written 3 years ago, and then you release it now. That's not how I feel now, but that's how I felt then. You know? But regardless of the timeline, everybody has those feelings and emotions. So, I think it's important to express that through the art,
right? And
to create better human function.
Yeah, you always were more like a thoughtful, like not even. It's so funny to watch. It's funny and cool to watch you be so vulnerable with music, because I feel everyone says stand-up is more vulnerable. I disagree. Music is more vulnerable because you're not coming in there with a coping mechanism like I am, trying to make, hi, my dick's small. Isn't that funny? Like, you're like, this is how I feel. I'm going to lay down this shit and, like, suck it. Listen, don't make a noise.
Yeah.
Or make a whole lot of noise, whatever it is.
People ask, I'm sure you get this question a lot, too. Like, do you ever get nervous? God, I hate getting that question. Right. No, I don't get nervous. But,
really? For me, it's the exact opposite.
Oh, this is a great talking point.
I'm nervous every single time. Like,
really, I'm not. I don't get nervous. I feel butterflies. I'm anxious because I'm excited for people to receive the product that I've been working so hard for.
Okay, that's a good way to put it.
But I'm not nervous.
I'm confident in my ability.
Sure.
But I'm also confident in the setting of stand-up, there are a lot of outliers considering it's instant gratification every time. Like
every single time.
So,
dude, that performer's high is stupid.
It's fucking bonkers.
Crazy.
When you do well. That low, the instant feeling of like your first joke and then crickets after your first joke, you're like, oh, no. Yeah, tonight's going to be tough.
It's going to be a tough crowd.
Is it often you get like, you bomb like performing music?
Oh, dude, all the time.
Really?
But here's the thing, Blake, is like so when I was in OKC, I was playing on the waterfront, and people would pass by on boats and stuff, and they'd pay me no attention. But every now and then, you would see a boat come by, and one time the driver stopped and pulled the boat aside to listen to my set, and I was doing famous, which you can check on my Instagram, Bob Dylan cover. Don't Think Twice, It's All Right. So I do a cover of that, and they actually pulled the boat, aside to hear the rest of the performance.
Wow.
And that boosted not necessarily my confidence, because I have like fairly high confidence. It was one of those things where it spoke volumes in the sense of it's not verbal, it's by action.
Yeah.
And so to that point, I think, that I don't do it for you. I do it for me. But go a step further. I do it because I'm hoping that maybe this would draw your attention, and maybe you would see the value like I saw the value. But
I hope we relate in this way.
Right, just like we were saying, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily like even when I play a song or I mess up, that's when the performance skills, that's when the training kicks in, and you just figure out, this when you bomb a joke, you just kind of have to go with it.
You got to roll and go into something else.
You have to play it off as though you meant to do that. That was intentional. And that's the whole thing that we do.
See, that's
as entertainers.
That's a fun little cover up. In there's in music that makes sense. You got to sit there and be professional the whole time.
Right.
As my quote unquote profession would be, my profession is being silly. So a whole lot of people say not to do this, but I love coming in like, hey, I just fucked up. Isn't that kind of funny? I'm still doing bar open mics and shit like that. So at what point, what does it matter if I'm like, behind the curtain, I just messed up that whole fucking bit.
Yeah.
I made it work, but you didn't know that.
I don't really, like I said, I don't get nervous. If anything, I'm excited.
Right.
And even when it relates to, more so, I think, less when I'm performing my own music and then when I'm performing with the band. Because those are two different experiences. One, you're the quarterback of the team. The other, you're the wide receiver of the team.
Right.
Which is a little bit different.
You
know
got
what
a piece that can help, but you got to be there for your team when they need you.
Yeah, I offer what I can for my team, but I'm not the quarterback at the end of the day. I'm not throwing that game-winning touchdown. As you are when I have the guitar in my hand and the microphone in front of me.
Right.
That's different. Now I'm in control of everything.
And that's one thing between I always loved the idea of solo sports.
Yeah. Like tennis.
That's a great, and it always made more sense for me to if I lost, I lost.
Right. It was all on me.
But you need that in your team aspect because when you lose, even if you did well, you're like,
damn,
fuck, I didn't reach out to this guy.
Right.
I didn't support. We were offensive linemen. I didn't look to this guy and hey, we need to nut up here.
Yeah.
We got to quote Bauer. We got to reach up into our manginas, grab our balls, and yank them out.
You're telling me.
Yeah, man.
No,
still talk to Bauer.
I ran into someone a couple of weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah. Football practice. Crazy. Little brother. No, but you get to a point where you stop thinking so much and you just start doing.
Right.
The concept of just do it. It sounds cliche.
Yeah, you can't think too much when you're up there. You you just got to go you got to go with your gut.
Dude, yeah. No one else is thinking about it that much besides you. And once you realize that, you start to let go a little bit. You start to disassociate. That's another big word. Angelo, I cannot spell that word, but I can properly use it. And very much that's the experience of being a performer is disassociating from the real world a little bit to a controlled environment. So I don't know. Performing is interesting. In your experience, okay, I've always wanted to know this as a comedian. No, you're fine. As a comedian, as an entertainer, do you like when people get involved in the performance? For example, I was with a buddy at a comedy show in OKC,
right?
And the lady right next to me was just belligerently drunk. And she started yelling out in the crowd to the performer.
Right.
Right. Which, of course, drew attention to our side of the room.
Of course.
And I remember the comedian even pointing it out and being like, hey, somebody should give this lady a mic because clearly she needs a stand-up. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Clearly she's the comedian here, not me. So what do you think about people? Have you had that happen? And if so, what do you do with that type of energy? You're a dick.
I did literally last Monday. I went to Tyler, Texas, because they have an open mic out there, they have a comedy club that's on the works. I love it out there. Look up Rose City Comedy Club out there if you're out in Tyler.
City.
I feel bad when I do it unless I'm towards the end of the block. If I were opening for a real headliner and someone was heckling then, I could not attack that guy because that's a bad precedent to set for the later guy.
Right.
Especially because in most settings, if a headliner was coming through, he would not pick me.
Right.
The club would put me up. Or this is who we're going to put up. And then I'd come out there and shit on a person, walk someone, and he'd be like, what the fuck?
You ruined the whole crowd. The whole vibe. You just completely brought down.
Just fucking killed it.
What I'm really been trying to get into is I like crowd work, and it's been fun because I feel like the more you can relate to the crowd, the better. So yeah, I can write jokes that people relate to, or I can try and relate to the crowd in a certain setting. Like, I can just talk to them.
Oh, sure.
I like a calmer setting. Like, Johnny might have showed you Big J. Okerson. He's one of my favorite.
Legend.
He just sits there and, like, you look fucking weird. Hi, how you doing?
What's up?
I like doing that, and if they're starting to do that, I will pitch it to them. You're like, hey, someone needs to let this person get it out of their system.
Clearly.
And I like, you have to tell them, like, I'll talk to you, talk to no one else.
Yeah.
Like, please don't be disrespectful, but here, this is your show too. I'll let you do what you want to do right now.
Right.
And I've had that, and it's gone well, and it's also gone very poorly, and I fucked it for the rest of the people.
Yep.
So it's kind of one of those things. You're like, in the moment, you get to pick.
Yeah, you kind of have to make a on the fly decision.
Yeah,
gotta be quick with it. Quick draw.
I mean, it can't be off the bat. Like, if they do it once and then you shut them down, you're a dick.
Sure.
You gotta roll with a couple
you gotta
punches.
Play it cool.
If they do it 3 times in a minute, you're like, all right. If they one more, and then I'm gonna say something.
Right.
If I say it, if you do it a 5th time, then I'll be mean.
Then we're gonna have issues.
But I would say most people need to not be mean. I need to learn to not be mean with them. However, it's fun.
Right. Yeah. That's the craziest thing to me is people jumping in out of nowhere, third partying. They're trying to steal the show. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but I've hit a certain point at where I've gone to shows that I was on and then sat in the audience afterwards. And sometimes, even if you do well, you're on a bad lineup. And then you'll sit in the back and you're like, man, these people spent $15. And even if I put on my best work, I had 5 minutes. So damn. This is just as much their show as it is mine.
Yeah.
Like, they're paying.
They paid.
They brought their wife. That's $40.
They paid.
Yeah. So at that point, you got to have some, like, respect for them. Right. You're like, okay, I get it. Well, I'll see what I can do. If you're a newer comic, don't do that.
Sure.
Do not go in not knowing if you have the ability to do that. Yeah. A lot of newer comics,
don't do that.
They try to do that, and they end up being off-putting, if not mean.
Yeah.
So it just...
Dad always told me you got 2 eyes, 2 ears, you got 2 nostrils, you got 1 mouth.
You got 1 penis over there, too.
Speaking of, I do have to use it. Can we take a flesher break?
I think we're at a point where we could call it because our next guests are about to be here as well.
We're at 40,
really?
We're at 42 minutes.
42.
42. Yeah. I think that's a perfect thing to do that because there's not a thing to cut in here. This has been perfect. Yeah. And a nice 45-minute, that's easy to watch.
Sick.
So I would love if you plugged up your social media one more time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please go follow, listen to his music on Apple Music, Spotify, whatever you
stream
have.
Letters to You. And Instagram is where I'm going to be most active at, and that's going to be at _Real Divine, the spelled THA, because I had to be cool, had to be frisky with it.
Right, you had to be different.
Divine in the flesh. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, P Bale.
Of course, buddy.
Yeah. It was
loved having you on.
Thank you.
This has been very fun for me. A little blast from the past.
Yeah.
If y'all will follow me on Instagram at pbailey_comedy.
You have to.
Follow.
If you're not already,
exactly.
You probably should. They probably already are, but if they're not, they will.
You're a cantankerous whore if you're not already.
You're a silly Billy.
You're silly goose.
Silly Billy.
You're a silly old Billy if you don't go and follow the Dingbat podcast.
Exactly.
With your host.
Follow Dingbat Pod on Instagram.
Yeah. Shout out Blake too. Everybody give a round of applause.
Thank
you.
Cue the clapping noise.
Thank you guys.
At that point, Blake, please also plug your stuff. He's got a couple podcasts coming out as well.
What an incredible dude.
I'm now producing a podcast for a musician, a rapper I know, Ozzy Monroe. It's called the Greenlight Podcast.
Hell yeah.
I'm not sure where he's going to be posting it, but it's
coming soon though.
Right? Yeah. He showed me videos of that today. It looks just as good as this. It's incredible. Oh, that's Corey calling me. I'm plugged up. If you will...
I'm good.
Awesome.
Producer Blake _Smith.
Thank y'all so much. Y'all keep watching. Bye.